Yeah. All right. I'm hearing myself in my ear. That's a no bueno. I hate it. Okay, hold on. I got an echo and I can't deal. Check, check, check. Still bad. All right. Whatever. I quit. All right. I give up. How y'all doing? Today I can't with the headphones and hearing myself. Today I had to hop on here real quick. As you can see, sis ain't had no makeup on, was not making no type of plans to be on here today. But I saw news pop up that I was like, cannot wait because we are going through it. Okay, we are going through it, and it looks like Greg Abbott has decided he's done. He's not taking any more. He's not doing any more maneuvering. He's not doing any more negotiating, posturing with the Biden administration in regards to protecting the southern borders. And as he should, because, you know, most of the people that live in Texas already have been dealing with this for years and years and years, and now it's just so much worse. And they have the right to, you know, ask for the government to do what they're supposed to do, which is enforce the laws that are already there. You know, the Biden administration keeps trying to frame it as though, you know, hey, we're trying to fix it. It's nothing to fix. Just enforce the laws. I mean, there is something to fix. Let me not say that. There's something to fix. But if you would just enforce the laws that are on the books, then you don't have to, you know, go back and forth and worry about, you know, you don't have to worry about the forcing people to deal with your ineptitude, your lack of accountability. The laws as they were written are not perfect, but they are there for a reason, right? And when you just abandon the laws and don't enforce them, you are how do you not call that a crime? You're committing a crime, right? Any other situation, this is committing a crime. If you're tasked to uphold laws, right? If say a police officer sees someone robbing someone and they just, you know, they're on duty, you know, obviously a cop, and they see somebody getting robbed and they just watch it happen when they could have prevented it, when, you know, procedures, when protocol, when the textbook, the training, the education, every other facet of what you've been taught, right? Everything, the material of what you do, right? The backbone of what you do is all based on these laws and rules. And then somebody's just like, you know what, let's just forget the rules. Still, you're gonna get paid, right? You're still gonna get paid. You still get to wear the uniform. You still get to have a title. You still get to walk around and say, I'm the leader, right? You still get to do all of that. But then you can point your finger to everybody else and then not do your job. Imagine you saw a cop on the street doing that. Y'all would be so upset if you were down there with your own two eyes, like everybody that been down to that southern border has, watching folks break the law and federal agents not being able to do their job. National Guard not being able to do their job. Texas police not being able to do their job. How you think that make them feel? Think about that. If you on your job and you know you're supposed to do a thing, this is the very root of your job. The thing that you're supposed to do day in and day out, the oath you swear, all of that. And somebody told you, nah, you can still come to work, but just don't do that thing. Even though we've bought you into this. This is the backbone of what we do. This is exactly our reason for being here. And you're like, nah, don't do that no more, but still show up every day. How you think that make them feel? How you think Border Patrol feels right now? How should Biden feel? How should Mayorkas feel? Right? But clearly, these people ain't worried about it. So Greg Abbott, he's been doing what he can. As anybody who's paying attention has seen, you know, the busing came out of really a dire situation. But people not looking at what happened before the busing. They just want to act like Greg Abbott just found some migrants, put them on buses, and just start punishing people with migrants, right? This is not what happened, okay? These folks abandoned the border. These folks told him to abandon the border and left Texas to fend for herself, right? And so here we are where he's done what he can do within the law. So when they were talking all that traffic and stuff, you ain't heard no more of that, right? Why not? Ask yourself why they can't sue Greg Abbott for trafficking, right? Because if he got to get sued for it, if he could get punished for it, what you think gonna happen to Joe Biden? What you think gonna happen to Joe Biden when they caravanning people and leading them right to the border? What is that? When the folks that Greg then shipped off, with Abbott then shipped off, signed forms or at least said, hey, that's where I want to go. So they ain't had nothing else to say about it because they don't have anything to stand on. Yet and still, y'all want to keep abandoning the laws and then expecting Texas to just deal with it. Well, Greg Abbott said enough is enough. And so he had razor wire installed, and the Supreme Court was like, no razor wire, no razor wire. And then he said, oh yes, razor wire. So let's watch this clip. Hold on, let me let y'all see. Child. I can't with this echo. Hopefully I can figure that out. All right, there we go.
Crisis in a standoff over the use of razor wire. Today, new video shows even more razor wire being put in along a contested section of the U.S.-Mexico border. This is happening even after the Supreme Court on Monday voted to let federal Border Patrol agents remove all of that wire. The razor wire was installed as part of Texas Governor Greg Abbott's security initiative at the border known as Operation Lone Star. The Biden administration arguing now the razor wire prevents Border Patrol agents from doing their job. In a new statement, I want to share it with you this afternoon from the governor's desk. He says he's declared an invasion and invoking the state's constitutional authority to defend and protect itself, and it supersedes any federal statutes.
Do this simple 20-second ritual before bed tonight. It's a shame that so many people with sugar issues don't know about this.
Okay,
a team of Brazilian scientists.
Okay.
Now to the state.
Do y'all hear how much leadership y'all getting in Texas? Like, I'm kind of jealous. Okay. Because like I ain't seen nobody else really fighting this hard for their state like that. I haven't seen nobody fighting this hard for upholding what's supposed to be what everybody's supposed to be upholding in a long time. So hold on. Let me I'm just knocking stuff and hitting stuff. All right. Let's go back.
The very latest on the border.
Oh, this one.
Now to the standoff between the federal government and the state of Texas at the southern border. The Biden administration is demanding that Texas allow Border Patrol agents full access to a crossing point in the border town of Eagle Pass and is currently being blocked by the Texas National Guard. CBS's Omar Villafranca is at the site of the stalemate.
This is Shelby Park on the Rio Grande. It is now the new battleground between the state of Texas and the federal government. But it didn't always look like this. Now it's fenced in, surrounded by miles of razor wire, just like this, and there's armed Texas National Guard on standby. Federal Border Patrol agents can't even get full access to the park, which they say is a problem if they're trying to reach migrants in distress. On Monday, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Biden administration, but our CBS cameras were there when they caught Texas National Guardsmen laying out more wire. Texas officials say they will hold the line. Federal officials say Texas should allow them full access to this park by Friday. Nora?
Thank you, Omar. The repercussions of what's happening at the border are being felt across the country as Texas continues to bus migrants to major cities in the north, many of which are now completely out of space to house them. Our CBS Boston station captured this video. Dozens of migrant families now allowed into the terminal at Logan Airport overnight because there is no room left at shelters. And in Chicago, people are sleeping in buses while they wait for a place to stay. A big part of the problem is the ever-growing backlog of asylum cases. Right now, more than 3 million migrants are waiting for their cases to be heard in immigration court. Just last year, the backlog of cases was at 2 million.
Did y'all hear that? 3 million. It was 2 million last year, meaning he's added 1 million cases to this backlog. Bruh. What?
Was at 2 million. CBS's Manuel Bojorquez is in Miami, which has the largest backlog in the country.
Well, Nora, this is Miami's immigration court, and you can tell by the markers on the ground, this is where people are told to line up. And on most days, you'll find a line of dozens of people trying to get inside to see a judge and learn more about their fate. About 275,000 cases of migrants placed in removal proceedings are pending in the Miami Immigration Court. That is the largest docket in the country. The average caseload nationally is now 4,500 per judge. And Nora, just for context, the amount of cases pending before just the Miami court now is roughly the same as there was nationwide a decade ago. Nora?
Good context, Manny. Thank you. So what is being done about this? Well, on Capitol Hill, Senate Democrats continue to make headway in Congress on a border deal. There is agreement on allowing more deportations and detentions. The sticking point is whether to allow migrants to stay in the U.S. while waiting for their court dates and how to pay for it all.
Did y'all catch all that spin? Did you catch all that spin? Did you catch all the spin?
The sticking point is... So what is being done about this? Well, on Capitol Hill, Senate Democrats continue to make headway in...
Senate Democrats continue to make headway, right? Senate Democrats continue to make headway. So Republicans ain't trying to do nothing, huh? So y'all didn't start this by deciding that y'all were going to open the border to everybody to be not like Trump. Please tell me there was another reason, because it couldn't have been that we're going to care for these people, because y'all not doing that right, as you saw, right? People on the buses, everybody overcrowded in airports, the backlog of the judges. Oh, we want to hire more judges. We want to, hire more border patrol. We want to make, staff this more. And it's like, that definitely is not the answer. Yes, you can hire more staff and all of that, but at the end of the day, you need to first and foremost enforce your laws. If I have a leaky faucet, or a leaky faucet that now turns into a stream, okay? Because that's what it was. It was a leaky faucet, and then it turned into a stream because somebody said, like right out the Rio Grande, okay? And then I'm pulling up a little sippy cup, a little shot glass, trying to catch the water and throw it over here to stop from drowning. Am I gonna drown? Tell me. Am I gonna drown? Am I gonna drown? What I'm gonna do with this little shot glass and the stream of water like the Rio Grande? What I'm gonna do? Anybody? Thank you. So what are we doing? The sanctuary city should have known that they were not going to be able to keep this up. The definitely the city, our city, Chicago, New York, if you know you already dealing with all these issues, why on earth, especially being new black mayors like Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson are delusional. So, So new black mayors thinking that they're gonna, make this crisis into their, victory is crazy, because the person that you caping for, Joe Biden, he has abandoned you. He's abandoned you, and he definitely abandoned Texas. You should have saw by how he abandoned Texas, how he was going to abandon you. But see, y'all think y'all better than Greg Abbott. Y'all think y'all better than Texas and El Paso and Eagle Pass and everybody else on the border that got to deal with this in Louisiana and wherever else. Y'all think y'all better than them. But honey, Greg Abbott is not to be played with, because he clearly has a great head on his shoulders, or a good legal team, or a good team around him, just period, because he's not missing on this. Like, I'm feeling like he has the legs to stand on, because the federal government does have to support the states. That's always been a lever in the Constitution, is like, as long as you keep us safe from foreign threats, right? We gonna do what we gotta do. Give us the dominion over the things that you've told us are up to the states, right? And we gonna take care of that. Well, if a federal government was created out of a civil war, why would it not have another trigger for one? Or, to prevent one? Why would it not? Hello, if we rewrote stuff, so we got the Revolutionary where everything came out of disagreements, right? So why are you not going to create your laws so that disagreements that you've had and any predictable ones can be resolved, or at least have a reference point at which you can contextualize the resolution based on the intentions of the founding fathers and the Congresses that have met, to get us to this point, right? And so I'm gonna read from this article right here, which just basically breaks this down a little bit more. So let's see where we at with it. So this is The Hill. Abbott doubles down on border invasion declaration. And that's the key word right there, because when you keep saying that, now you don't have to keep referring to the federal government anymore, because if they don't see it as an invasion and you can prove that that's what that is, right? Or if you can say by our definition on the books of invasion, this fits that, right? Then you now get to invoke whatever trigger allows you to say, oh, federal government, if you're not going to help us, then clearly you overwhelmed. Let's do what we got to do. I mean, so if you're the leader, right, and you're like, oh my God, this is so crazy. How do we make it stop? And then meanwhile, you're also like acting like you don't know how to do your job, crying about it, pointing fingers all day, making it about you and getting reelected or looking good in the public eye. It's all about your PR and your image rather than the actual solutions. Then what choice do people have? Then to start going, you know what? This person is not fit to lead. This person is not fit to lead. Y'all kept trying to talk that with Trump, but here we are looking at somebody clearly not capable of leading. I mean, and then who the VP is? Something happened to this old decrepit bastard. We looking at cackling Kamala. Are y'all serious? Come on, close your eyes. Let's do a visualization. Close your eyes and imagine Joe Biden is not there. I'm not wishing anything on him, but if this were the case and Kamala Harris were to take over, what can you actually visualize her doing? What can you see her doing? I can't even see this bitch making eggs. I really can't. So I'm just trying to figure out, are y'all okay? Because you can't not see that this is a problem. I need y'all to be more critical of this administration, because it's not about politics anymore. It's not about race. It's not about class. This is about y'all people are crazy and y'all are literally ruining people's lives and you have no good reason for it and you're gaslighting us. And so I don't blame Greg Abbott for doing what he got to do, because he's sick of it. And I'm sure Texas is sick of it. They got people dying down there, getting killed, drowning in the river, trying to house these people. They said people in tunnels and sewers and abandoned buildings. This happened in Chicago. Somebody, they claim, broke into an abandoned building and they found some migrants in there trying to hole up an abandoned building. It's out of control. So you got to think, like, what are we going to do to actually resolve the faucet that is now overwhelming us? Not keep trying to find, a way to minimize the image, the damage to our image, because it's not about the problem. They don't care about fixing the problem. They just want to make sure they look good while we all suffer. So anyway, Abbott doubles down on border invasion declaration after Supreme Court blow. So Texas Governor Greg Abbott on Wednesday accused the federal government of breaking the compact with the states. Okay, once you say that, it's a wrap. Following a Supreme Court ruling on Monday, he said, I got something for y'all. Oh, you think you the Supreme Court? Watch this. Greg Abbott hit y'all with the watch this. Oh God. Court ruling on Monday, they cleared the way for the Border Patrol to remove razor wire installed by Texas along the U.S.-Mexico border. In a statement, Abbott said President Biden has refused to enforce immigration laws and has even violated them. It's the latest escalation in a legal and political standoff between Texas and the federal government, though Abbott stopped short of announcing any specific measures. Never let him know your next move. He has been pushing constitutional boundaries on state versus federal jurisdiction of border and immigration enforcement for the better part of 2 years. His legal team, including State Attorney General Ken Paxton, so shout out to y'all, first publicly toyed with the idea of formally declaring a border invasion in April of 2022. So they had this on the table, but now because y'all saw that poll in the other episode where it was like 74% of blacks said they would call this an invasion, and it was like upwards of like 60% of everybody else pretty much was like, yeah, I think that's what this is too. So they had to wait till they had the public, so they had the public sentiments behind them. So, of course, the busing was part of that, but also it's a logical thing to do. Like, what are you supposed to do? See, you can't get caught up in your feelings about somebody having their back against the wall and then having to act for others, especially when you are tasked with caring for the people who cannot take care of themselves, cannot defend themselves, cannot speak up for themselves. When you are a governor of a state or a leader of any group of people, period, in any form or fashion, you are supposed to put yourself on the front line first and foremost. It's never about you. It's never about your feelings, your allies, your parties, your allegiances. It's about the people that have trusted you to represent them, right? Those are the people we call voters. Or I think we who was that on that I think it was a panel where one of them wouldn't say voters. Oh no, it's your girl, the press secretary, Biden's press secretary. She wouldn't say voter. Let me see if I can pull that up. Maybe. Come on, ads. I think I left a comment on one of them, but
protect our people and the free flow of December, right? While the negotiations were occurring and happening in the Senate in a bipartisan way, obviously Republicans and Democrats, and here at the White House, we were having those conversations, trying to find a bipartisan agreement. We were having those conversations even through the holiday weekend. The holiday.
I think this might be it.
And they decided to go home. Literally, they decided to go home. And so those conversations are going to continue.
This
meeting
horrible.
does not stop those conversations from continuing. We think it's headed in the right direction, so that's important as we're talking about the border security and what we can do to make sure that we're dealing with that issue. And so we appreciate Republicans and Democrats in the Senate operating with us in good faith, and we think it's headed in the right direction.
And finally, do you think that that criticizing the House for going home improves your odds of getting whatever deal, should there be a deal in the Senate through the House? I'm just curious what the strategy is here.
Here's the thing, and I appreciate the question and I get the question, but Republicans in the House have been they've gotten in the way. They have gotten in the way when it comes to border security.
This is it.
They have gotten in the way and actually voted on pieces of legislation to take away some of the law enforcement, the CBP, right, at the border. That's what they voted on back in May. So we want to work with them, but they've been very clear where they stand. So look, we're going to have, the president is looking forward to having a conversation with members of Congress, obviously here with his own national security team, with other members of his team here. They're going to talk at 3:15, and he wants to really lay out the importance of Ukraine. He's always willing to hear out members of Congress on what they want to discuss. But we've been very clear. The Republicans in the Senate have wanted to work with us. They're talking through us, negotiating, trying to find a bipartisan agreement. And that's the way to move forward.
So now they want to work with you. Which one is it, bitch?
Kirby,
they got in the way, and now they want to work with you.
Clear that they're not even going to talk about Ukraine until the border is addressed. And he's made clear that it's HR 2 or bust. So how's the president going to navigate that in today's meeting?
He's not the only congressperson in the room today. He's not. He's not the only person that's going to be in the room. There'll be other congressional members. The president has been really clear. He wants to talk about Ukraine, the urgency of making sure we continue that assistance to Ukraine, what that means, not just for the broader world national security, but also for us. And so
she ain't say nothing.
Not going to be the only
She ain't say nothing about what this means for the world, national security for us when it came to the border, right? But Ukraine suddenly, that's a factor. Oh, okay. So she knows what these things are. Right? Biden's administration knows what national security is, but just not for us. Not in this specific case. Somehow this is different, right? Oh, when it's your problem, right?
Only person in the room. And so, look, but obviously the president's going to bring people together. He wants to hear from folks. And so he's willing to hear what these congressional members want to talk about. But the purpose of this meeting is to talk about Ukraine.
What can you get done without Speaker Johnson and
I'm not saying we can't.
support?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying he's not. You're saying if he wants to talk about something else like border security, how can the president manage the conversation? There will be other people in the room, and I think folks understand that there is a national security importance of having this meeting. That's why the president is bringing folks together, and not only that, let's not forget they're going to hear also from his national security team as well.
Some people who won't be in the room are members of the press. And in the past meetings,
look at her face.
Congressional leaders have been open. Is there a reason why today's is closed?
So look, we'd had a similar meeting back in October, as you know, and so that was an important meeting about national security, the supplemental as well, and so that occurred. Look, not all meetings are public or have a press component. The president, as you know, has a long history in Washington, D.C.
Not all meetings are public or have a press component. I thought y'all worked for us. Okay, go ahead. she be flipping it, baby.
Of bringing folks together, getting a bipartisan deal, and so he wants to make sure we get straight to work. He wants to make sure that we have this really important conversation. He wants to get straight to it. We expect some members of the Congress to.
Her tail is that blinking, baby. When she blinking uncontrollably, she is lying.
Go to the sticks after their meeting, so you certainly will hear directly from them, and we will have a readout as well of the meeting. So there'll be an opportunity.
She tried to control that blink right there, that eyebrow. She's so full of shit.
To follow up,
fuck her, man.
Also, House Speaker Johnson said today, he seemed to throw cold water on the Senate border negotiations when he said, I don't think now is the time for comprehensive immigration reform because we know how complicated that is. You can't do that quickly. How will the president receive that message today if Johnson says this is too complicated to do right now?
Making sure that we take care of our border is not too complicated. It's not.
Really?
It's not. If people come together in good faith, as they've been doing in the Senate, we can get this done. We can get this done. And let's not forget, the president actually put forth a comprehensive immigration proposal almost 3 years ago. Almost 3 years ago. We had 3 years to work on something. If that was what the Speaker Johnson is concerned about, we had 3 years to work on it. And so, look, and if he was really concerned about it, then when these negotiations started before the holiday break, they would have stayed. They would have stayed and actually, tried to be part of the solution. Look, we want to have a bipartisan agreement. That's what we want. We want a bipartisan agreement because the president understands that's how we're going to fix the problem. That is it. And so, look, it's continuing. We're going to see what happens with the Senate negotiations. We're going to see where they land. Certainly not going to get ahead of that from here. But it is important. It is important to get this done. And the president's not going to stop from negotiating with the senators.
Just a quick one. Beyond the congressional leaders
coming to the table in good faith. We hope that we can really deal with this issue. I just want to be super, super mindful and not get into specifics of policy. Not say anything.
Bruh, hold on. Let me find this clip. Because there's literally a specific one where she says, hopefully this is it. She stumbles so hard.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products.
Why are you repeating this false claim that Republicans voted to reduce the number of Border Patrol agents, even though the Washington Post gave the administration 3 Pinocchios for that?
So we don't believe it's a false claim. Our statements were very direct here. Last year, House GOP voted, and not only did they vote for it, but they touted their Limit, Save, Grow Act. That's the act.
Well, limit, and they vowed that it would never affect Border Patrol. they voted for and touted it, right? This is an act. And this would have forced the elimination of 2,000 Border Patrol agents. That's what this act that they touted, that they voted for in the House. So that was their proposal, and that was what they voted for back in May. They clearly stated at that time that Border Patrol, also veterans' benefits and entitlements would never be impacted by any of the reductions. And also the bill never had any appropriations in it. So this claim that you guys are rolling out, you know, it's the White House applying White House math to a bill that never had any appropriations. And moreover, the administration, or the members in Congress who, you know, put this together vowed that it wouldn't affect policing. So the reason I ask is because it's just, you know, to voters, don't you think they know the difference between, you know, what is a truthful statement and what is spin? And is it insulting to them at all to keep saying it when it's just not true? One thing that the president does not do is insult voters or American people, to be more exact, because I want to be careful about this, what I can say about this upcoming election. What I will say is...
What does that mean, right? I want to be careful about what I can say about this upcoming election. So voters are like, you know, the people that you...
why are you...
Hold on. So this was at... 1:30.
One thing that the president does not do is insult voters or American people, to be more exact, because I want to be careful about this, what I can say about this upcoming election. What I will say is...
Bro, what does that mean? So I was looking through the comments and people were like, bro, right, same thing. She's lying when she's blinking crazy. When she says one thing the president does not do is insult voters, you can rest assured the one thing the president definitely does is insult the voters. But yeah, like, what does that mean with this upcoming election? So it's just really odd for her to say something like this. And then, of course, with all the spin on the border, it's crazy. But yes, I believe that they are intentionally doing this. But back to Greg Abbott. So with the, I'm sorry, I think we read this. Yeah. So in that November, Abbott wrote Biden invoking a state's constitutional right to wage war when invaded. But he only made his official invasion declaration public in September. So yeah, he already didn't put him on notice. But the official invasion declaration went public in September. Okay. So here, since then, the governor has methodically increased the border enforcement roles of the Texas Department of Public Safety and the Texas National Guard, citing the constitutional authority for a state to defend itself against invasion. That authority is the supreme law of the land and supersedes any federal statutes to the contrary. Meaning, whatever y'all say that I can't do in regard to curbing this invasion, I don't have to listen to. Like, because why would you tell me I can't protect my state? That's crazy. Are y'all okay? Like, that's literally what the law is telling them. The Texas National Guard, the Texas Department of Public Safety, and other Texas personnel are acting on that authority, as well as state law, to secure the Texas border, wrote Abbott. Texas's actions have precipitated several legal battles surrounding Operation Lone Star, Abbott's initiative to take greater control over immigration enforcement. Though the Supreme Court this week allowed federal, I forgot it was Operation Lone Star. I named this episode something like Lone Ranger. Right. Though the Supreme Court this week allowed federal officials, namely the Border Patrol, to remove razor wire installed by Texas, that order did not affect other flashpoints in the uneasy relationship between feds and the state agents. Earlier this month, Texas officials took over a public park on the shores of the Rio Grande and Eagle Pass, using Texas National Guard troops to block the Border Patrol from accessing the park. They down there fighting to see who gets to the migrants first. This crazy. Texas Democratic Rep Joaquin Castro was the first to call for a federalization of the Texas National Guard, which as a military unit is ultimately under the command of President Biden as commander-in-chief. Ultimately, unless Rep. Greg Casar or whatever follows suit Wednesday in the wake of Abbott's statement. I agree with Congressman Castro. If Abbott is defying yesterday's Supreme Court ruling, President Biden needs to establish sole federal control of the Texas National Guard. Uh-oh. So next move is Biden takes over the National Guard. Bro, this is going somewhere bad very fast. Like, I'm sorry. I hope y'all realize that. All right. So the Supreme Court this week allowed federal officials. So this was the one about them allowing the razor wire. So I just want to see what the Supreme Court's logic was. Excuse me. The Supreme Court ruled Monday that the federal government can remove razor wire erected on the U.S.-Mexico border by Texas law enforcement, which the government argued illegally prevented them from managing the border. So their main argument was that it's unsafe for us to try to help the migrants or get to them so they can, turn themselves into Border Patrol to say that they're seeking asylum because this razor wire is, in the way. So Chief Justice John Roberts led the majority alongside Roberts had you effed up every time. Do not, you can't go in there thinking you know where Justice Roberts gonna do. Alongside Justices Sotomayor, Elena Kagan, Amy Coney Barrett, Ketanji Brown Jackson, I think that's how you say her name, with the remaining justices in dissent. The conflict over the border escalated earlier this month when the Texas National Guard and Texas Department of Public Safety erected fences and razor wire in a riverside park on Eagle Pass, Texas, a migrant crossing hotspot. The state law enforcement prevented U.S. Border Patrol officers from accessing the park, which also contains the region's main boat ramp. It again became more dire after 3 migrants, a woman and 2 children, drowned in the Rio Grande just outside the park, with Border Patrol officials claiming that members of the Texas National Guard, prevented the federal officials from accessing the river and saving them. Texas officials denied responsibility. Bro, this is getting so ugly. This is getting so ugly. I wonder, can I pull up that dissenting opinion? Because I just want to see what they say. Okay, so we're going to have to wait a while because they haven't published anything from this court yet. So we got to wait. But yeah, I cannot wait to see that, just to see what their arguments were on the dissenting opinion, because Clarence Thomas probably had something to say if he was on they said it was 5-4. So let's see. The Hill. Let's see what this guy got to say real quick. All right, I'm tired of reading. Is there a video, y'all? Come on, baby. Let's do that.
Convenient, but you never really know who's using it or when. Introducing the all-new MyQ Smart Garage Video Keypad. With a built-in camera, you get streaming HD video day or night. Create up to 16 custom PIN codes.
Oh my God,
and get real-time notifications when the keypad is used. It's not just the key to your garage, it's the key to your home. Go to myq.com to get yours today.
Okay. The U.S. Supreme Court says the Department of Homeland Security can cut down razor wire barriers that Texas Governor Greg Abbott ordered to be built on the U.S.-Mexico border. By a 5-4 vote, the justices gave the Biden administration a temporary win in the battle over who controls the U.S. border in the state of Texas.
If the federal government's not going to do its job, why can't the state do it?
Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn blasted the ruling.
The huge tsunami of humanity coming across the border has affected my state disproportionately because we're at ground zero.
But Illinois Democrat Dick Durbin praised the ruling and called Texas Governor Greg Abbott's border policies inhumane.
His actions are not only dangerous and cruel, they're unconstitutional.
The battle over the border continues in court and in Congress. Republicans say they won't pass a budget or fund U.S. allies Ukraine and Israel without immigration reform. The Biden administration says it's willing to work with Republicans.
The bottom line here is that we need changes in policy, we need funding.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says Senate negotiators are close to a bipartisan border deal.
But we are not there yet. Negotiators are still working through some outstanding items.
In Washington, I'm Anna Warnicki.
So we will
Introducing
see.
the all-new
So I
MyQ
can't wait
Smart
to-
Garage
Oh my
video.
God, you need to stop. We will see. I cannot wait to see how Biden responds because it will be something to see if he takes over the National Guard, because now you really about to escalate things. Like, this is insane. But all right, we'll keep up with it and I'll catch up with y'all later. So thanks for joining me and y'all take care. Bye.